Discussion on economic growth is a very sensitive one. We already know that as a global population, we're yielding resource that means we're going beyond the capacity of what the planet can offer. We know that we're over-consuming and that investment growth expectations are impossible to deliver without speeding up damage and worsening climate change. So what does a different sort of growth look like? I'm Annie Hood. Hello and welcome to Well Intel Daily. This is the podcast that makes wellbeing work for you and your business. On a personal note, I found this a sensitive and even inflammatory subject to discuss. I consider myself quite a centrist in political terms. But if conversation has veered toward reduction in economic growth as part of a sustainable strategy, or as a way of closing the equality gap, some would call me anti-capitalist or socialist. Others might argue that political lean has become irrelevant. The facts are the facts. Whatever side of the political spectrum you or I consider ourselves to be, but isn't it more about being a realist? And if you're unsure about this, have a look at the Earth overshoot graphic that maps the tipping point of overconsumption if the world's population lived like the populations of each country that this graphic maps. If we all lived or consumed like Qatar, the overshoot this year was the 10th of February. And that's the country that overshoots the quickest. Not every country has an overshoot day. It does if the ecological footprint per person is greater than the global biocapacity per person. I'll tag it into the episode notes. It's a pretty sobering read. But how do we solve the challenges we face without a seismic shift in the habits and the conditionings of the past? We now have to balance economic instability with resources that are nowhere near as plentiful as they were, alongside geopolitical uncertainty too. And this links back to discussions in previous episodes about long-termism and a pre-loved economy. Fundamentally, it's about changing behaviour. And for some of us, that will be through choice, but mostly it's probably going to be through regulation, policy, and quite painful change because time is not on our side. Elections next year in the US and the UK will certainly be fascinating. Literally no one knows what they might bring, but one thing is already obvious. The different sort of growth, in inverted commas, means sustainable. It means pre-loved. It means sharing and a different way of considering how we live. Tomorrow, a perfect challenge for your wind down Saturday. Do follow, share and review, and of course, be well.